All right, so now we move on to question 2. And question 2 says, Funtime Cruise Line offers nightly dinner cruises departing from several cities on the East Coast, just like question 1, etc., etc. And it says, if Funtime Cruise Line sells an additional 700 tickets, by what amount will its operating income increase? Okay, so all you do for this one, here's the information again from question 1. So we've got 700 tickets. The contribution margin is $20. Okay, so the answer is going to be $14,000. So if they sold if they sold an additional 700 tickets at $20 contribution margin, so it's $50 minus $30, they would increase, so their operating income would increase by $14,000. And it would do that if they're beyond break-even point. If they're not beyond break-even point, then their operating income or their operating loss would fall by $14,000. Okay, so that's question 2. Question 3. Funtime Cruise Line offers nightly dinner cruises, etc. Same information. Then it says compute the number of dinner cruise tickets they must sell to break even and the sales dollars needed to break even. So we've got 2 components for question 3. We want to find break-even point in units, right? Break-even point in units, which is going to be, the formula is the fixed cost in total divided by the contribution margin per ticket or per unit, right? Fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. And so that will give us the number of tickets to break even, whatever that is, okay? And so we put in the information, fixed cost, 210,000, contribution margin per ticket, $20, okay? And so we get 10,500 tickets. You might call them units, tickets, either way, okay? But it's 10,500 tickets to be sold for them to break even. If you want to know what it is in sales, 2 ways to do it. What you could do, you got break-even point sales, you got your 210,000 again. This time you divide it by the contribution margin ratio, which is 0.4, okay? And so if you do that, 210,000 divided by 0.4, you get $525,000. So if they sell 525,000 tickets, 525,000 sales in tickets, they'll break even. Now the other way you could do it, just I'll put this down the bottom here, if you take the 10,500 units and multiply that by $50 for the selling price, okay, get your calculator out, and your 10,500 multiplied by 50 gives you 525,000. So you can either do it one of 2 ways. 525,000. All right, so have a look at that just before I clean that off. And we've done question 3. We'll do question 4. Question 4. Right, now with question 4, okay, same information as we had over here. It just says, if Funtime Cruise Line has a target operating income of 30,000, so we'll say TI for target income, $30,000. Okay, so they're saying, what is the how many dinner cruise tickets must the company sell to make the 30,000 target income? All right, so the way we do that, you make your target income the same as a fixed cost. So it's going to be, if you take the formula, it's fixed cost plus target income divided by, and if you want to know the number of tickets, because the question says how many tickets must the company sell, if you want to know the number of tickets, then you do the contribution margin per ticket, which is dollars, and so that's going to be fixed cost of $210,000 plus the target income of $30,000 divided by the contribution margin, which we know is $20, and so that gives us, for question 4, it's $240,000, these two together, divided by 20. So if they sell 12,000 tickets per month, they make a profit of $30,000. Okay. Next one, question 5. Still with Fun Time Cruises. Question now says, question 1, or question 5 I should say, part 1, right, part 1. Suppose Fun Time Cruise Line cuts its dinner cruise tickets from $50 to $45. So the selling price is now $45, not $50. Okay? Because they want to increase the number of passengers. Compute the new break-even point in units and sales dollars. Okay, so all we do now, same formula, fixed cost, $210,000, divided by selling price, which is $45, minus variable cost, $30. So we get $210,000 divided by $15, and that gives us 14, sorry, I'll take that back. Question 5, yeah. So $210,000 divided by $15 gives us 14,000 tickets. All right, 14,000 is your answer to that one, part 1. And then for part 2, it says, in fact, we're still in part 1, explain, I'll take that back, compute the new break-even point in dollars. Okay, so for dollars, you do your 210. Now, again, you can do it, let's do it the quick way first, just to get the answer. Okay, so 14,000 tickets, they've got to sell to break even. They're going to sell them at $45 each. And so 14,000 multiplied by 45 is 630,000, and I made a mistake. It's actually 14,000 multiplied, in fact, let me look at that. I just got to, question 5, part B, what's their sales dollars? Let's see, sorry. $630,000, which is correct. Okay, I was not trusting myself, but I was right. So that's part B. I didn't actually write that question, that answer in when I was preparing. So part B of the question 1, compute the new break-even point in sales dollars. It's going to be 630,000. So in tickets it's 14,000. In sales dollars, 630, because all you do is take the number of tickets sold by the selling price, which is now $45. And in part 2 of that question, okay, it says, assume that Fun Time Cruises does not cut the price. Fun Time Cruise Line could reduce its variable cost by no longer serving an appetizer before dinner. And suppose this operating change reduces the variable expense from $30 to $20 per passenger. Compute the new break-even point in dollars and sales. Okay, so what all they're doing here is they're changing their variable cost. So it's now $210,000 fixed cost. We're back to the original $50 for the selling price. The new variable cost is $20. Okay, so it's now 210,000 divided by $30, 50 minus 20. Okay, and so now all I have to do is sell 7,000 tickets. 7,000 tickets. Okay, and if you want to know what it is in sales, again, 7,000 multiplied by the $50 ticket is $350,000 in your ticket sales. Now I want to show you one other way to do that. Okay, I want to show you one other way to do that. They want to know what it is in sales. Now what you can do to get your sales is you take your fixed cost divided by the contribution margin as a percentage. So the fixed cost of 210,000, the contribution margin as a percentage, remember the contribution margin is $30 out of the selling price of $50, okay? And so that's 0.6, 60%. So 210 divided by 0.6, get your calculator out again. 210 divided by 0.6 is the 350,000, just like we had before. So 350,000. Two ways you can do it. One, just take the number of units multiplied by the selling price, or two, get your contribution margin percentage and divide it into your fixed costs. So that's question 5. All right, question 6. Okay, we're still on Fun Time Cruises for question 6. Now, information, what the same fixed costs, I think. In fact, I think they're changing it. Let's have a look. Right, we've got that. Under these conditions, break even is 10,500, break even sales 525. Suppose Fun Time Cruises embarks on a cost reduction drive and slashes fixed expenses from 210,000 to 150,000 per month. Okay, so now the new fixed cost is changing to 150,000. So in other words, they won't have to sell as many tickets to break even because their fixed cost is reducing. All right, so compute the new break-even point in units and sales dollars. Okay, so the break-even point in units, we have new fixed cost, 150,000. Contribution margin is still $20. So 150,000 divided by $20 is 7,500 tickets. Okay, so they're selling less tickets to break even because they've reduced their fixed costs. And then part 2, sorry, we haven't done it in sales yet. And the break-even point in sales, if we do it the fast way, we take the 150,000. Our contribution margin ratio is $20 divided by $50, which is 40%. So you divide that by 0.4 and you get 150,000 divided by 0.4, 375,000. 375,000. Okay. Then part 2 is the break-even point higher or lower under the original conditions, and explain how changes in fixed costs generally affect the break-even point. So the break-even point is lower. Right, we don't have to sell as many tickets to break even because our fixed costs have reduced. Therefore, the break-even point is lower. All else being equal, a decrease, so a decrease is the option there, decrease in fixed costs will decrease the break-even point. So decrease in fixed costs will lead to a decrease in break-even point, and an increase in fixed costs leads to an increase in break-even point. Okay, so that's question 6. Moving on to 7. Okay, now 7 is a little bit different. So we're going to do the brand new information. Still the same cruise line, but now they're selling 2 types of tickets. Okay, 2 types of tickets. Okay, so Funtime Cruise Line offers 2 types of dinner cruises. We've got regular. Let me just get that. Yeah, regular. So regular and executive. And we'll just do a total as well. In a moment, we'll use that. Okay, selling price for each. Selling price for regular, $50. Selling price for executive, $100. Variable cost for the regular, same as it was before, $30. Okay, variable cost for the executive, $40. Therefore, you should know straight away, contribution margin regular, $20. Executive contribution margin, $60. Okay. Right, now the question says, okay, they also have what's called a sales mix. Right, now the sales mix is how many tickets of one they sell compared to how many tickets of another. So we've got the mix, sales mix. They sell 4 regular to every 1 executive. Now that's a total of 5. Out of 5 tickets, 4 are regular and 1 is executive. So what you do, multiply the 20 by 4, you get $80. Multiply the 60 by 1, you get $60. Add the 2 together, so 80 plus 60 equals 140. Right. Then you divide the 140 by the 5 here, so this 5 comes down here. And so the weighted average contribution margin becomes $28. Okay, so the weighted average contribution margin, all up for all of the tickets, both sets of tickets, is $28. And you have to look at that and say, all right, $28, is that somewhere between contribution margin 20, contribution margin 60? Yes, it is, so you're okay. If you got an answer of $280, you'd be wrong. If you got an answer of $2.80, you'd be wrong, because it's got to be somewhere in between here. All right? So that's the weighted average contribution margin. Now the question then says, is it higher or lower than the simple average? Now simple average is really just sort of saying 20 plus 60, which is 80, okay, divided by 2 is 40. So it's actually going to be lower. The weighted average contribution margin is lower than the simple average, which is $40, okay? So the My Accounting Lab asks you that. So the weighted average contribution margin is less than the simple average because Funtime Cruises sells more regular cruises, which have a lower contribution margin, than the executive cruises, which have a higher contribution margin. All right, that moves us to question 8. Still on Funtime Cruises. Clean the board. So, suppose Funtime Cruises offers two types of dinner cruises, regular, executive, etc., like we had before. Now, compute the total number of tickets that Funtime Cruise must sell to break even. All right, so fixed cost. So this is question 8. Fixed cost, 210,000. The weighted average contribution margin is $28. We worked that out from the previous question. And so 210,000 divided by $28 is 7,500 tickets. Okay, so all up, they've got to sell 7,500 tickets. Out of that 7,500, they've got the regular, of which they sell 4 out of 5. And then they've got the executive, of which they sell 1 out of 5. Okay, so you get your calculator out and you say, all right, 7,500 multiplied by 4 divided by 5 equals 6,000. So they've got to sell 6,000 regular tickets to break even. And then you've got 7,500 for executive, or total I should say, multiplied by 1 for the executive, divided by 5 altogether, and that's 1,500. And when you do that, just make sure that the 6,500 and the 1,500 add back up to your 7,500 overall tickets. So you need 7,500 tickets overall, of which 6,000 are regular and 1,500 are executive. Question 9, still on Funtime Cruises. Okay, so what we've got now, same information and break-even point, and they sell 12,000. So we're now looking at margin of safety, the concept of margin of safety. The formula for margin of safety is expected sales minus break-even point sales. Okay, because if you expect, like from your budget, how many sales you'll have, minus the break-even sales, that'll tell you your margin of safety in units. So they expect to sell 12,000 tickets, and the break-even we worked out before was 10,500. So the margin of safety in units is 1,500. 1,500 tickets. Okay, and in sales dollars, 12,000 tickets sold at $50 each is $600,000 in sales. 10,500 is your break-even sales, sold at $50 each is $525,000 in sales. So that's margin of safety 1,500 times $50, which is 75,000. Okay, 1,500 multiplied by the $50 selling price, 75,000. And then part C, was if Funtime Cruise Line sells 12,000 dinner cruises, compute the margin of safety as a percentage of sales. Okay, so your margin of safety in dollars is $75,000 out of expected sales of 600,000, and so you get 75,000 divided by 600,000, 12.5%. So the margin of safety in percentage of sales is 12.5%. Question 10. Still with Fun Time Cruises, and now we've got the now we've got the concept of operating leverage. Okay, now operating leverage is the proportion of your fixed costs versus your variable costs, and it can be used to determine what if we increase the price by 6%, what if we decrease the price by 6%, and so it tells you what happens with the operating income. Okay, so it says here, same information, compute the operating leverage. Okay, so the operating leverage formula, so OL equals the contribution margin in total dollars, okay, divided by the operating income in total dollars. So it tells us that they're going to do it at 12,000 tickets. Okay, 12,000 tickets. So we take our 12,000 and the contribution margin is $20, so 12,000 multiplied by $20 gives us contribution margin in total of 240,000, right? And then we subtract from that. Okay, let's see. Got the 12,000 times 20 is 240,000, and the fixed costs same, 210,000. So that means our operating income at that point is $30,000. Okay, so put that into our formula. Contribution margin total, 240,000. Operating income total, 30,000. That comes from here. Operating leverage, 8 times. Okay, not 8%. It's 8 times. All right, so the answer for the operating leverage factor is 8. And then it says, if volume increases by 6%, what percentage will operating income increase? Well, it's going to be, if I just use this little spot up here, you're going to have 8 by 6% means that your operating income will increase by 48%, because 6 eighths are 48. And if the volume decreases by 2%, right, so 8 by 2% decrease, that's a 16% decrease in your operating income. All right, so the operating leverage tells you that if you increase or decrease sales by a certain amount, how much will the operating income increase or decrease? Okay. All right, that will do us for today. There is a few other questions there. Question 11, 12, 13. And I'd like you to try them yourself, given what we've done, because at the moment I've taught you all that you need to do, and 11, 12, 13 you can try on your own, and if you have difficulty then I can explain that to you through an email. All right, thank you. I just got to turn my computer back on to shut down. All right. Okay, so let you have a look at that. So again, answer operating leverage is 8. If we increase sales by 6%, that's a 48% increase in operating income. If we decrease sales by 2%, that's operating income will decrease by 16%. Okay, thank you. Stop the recording.